Hello and welcome to this short video on building your resilience. Now we're going to take a look at some strategies. These are more than just a handful of top tips for you. They are the foundations that will help you to focus on your well-being and your resilience. We're also going to take a look at some of the barriers too, as it's not just about adding to the to-do list with a bunch of new activities. This is also about understanding what might be getting in the way and being able to do something about those things too. Now, there's no single right way to develop resilience other than what is right for you. As we look at some of these strategies, pay attention to what you find the most attractive and what you're drawn to the most. An organisation called the Resilience Engine has carried out research over more than 10 years with thousands of people in many organisations to understand resilience and how to develop it. This research showed there are 3 top enablers, plus a further one depending on where your resilience levels currently are. These are being present, here, now, right now, in the moment, not distracted. Energy, identifying what you can do to maximise your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual energy. Learning, understanding not just what you want to learn so that you can adapt to change, but also how you learn to. And purpose. This is for those who currently have a higher level of resilience and therefore can focus on living with meaning and doing the things that you love and are inspired by. Let's look at the first of these, being present. To develop and enhance your ability to be present, take time and space for you every single day if you can, even if it's just a little bit. Think about what this entails for you. Here's some suggestions. Maybe note down which ones you like the sound of most. Yoga, having a quiet cup of coffee with the papers, dozing, walking the dog, listening to music, playing an instrument, breathing. Now, breathing might sound like an obvious one. This is more about focusing on the breath. You could do this for, say, 5 minutes each day, just closing your eyes and noting how many breaths you take each minute. You're not aiming to change the number of breaths, just notice how many it is for you. Now, this is also a really good technique to remember when you're feeling a little stressed, such as if you're incredibly busy and running late, if you're distracted by doing too many things at once, or if someone has just said something that annoys you and you're feeling a bit stressed about that. What you do is you take 1 minute, breathe and count how many breaths you take. This gives you the space to calm your mind, calm your body, think more clearly and gain greater perspective. Okay, let's take a look at the next one, which is energy. An activity you can do is to think about your energy levels over a period of time. So you take a piece of paper and you draw a chart like this. You choose the time period, a week, a month, maybe longer, if you want to get an idea of your resilience levels over time and your energy levels over time, then do it for 12 or 18 months. Now, resilience and energy are different, but they are very much related together. So the more energy you have, it's likely the more resilient you are in those moments. And the lower your energy, the lower your resilience levels are at that time. So map them out. Think about over time, where were your energy levels? Where were the peaks? Where were the troughs? What contributes to the up parts? What happens during the down parts? What's the overall level? And where is it that you'd like it to be? You can pause this video while you draw your chart and reflect on what it tells you. You know you have energy when you're feeling bouncy or creative or can focus easily. And you know when you don't have energy because your head might feel jammed, you might feel tired, you might not be sleeping well, or you might sleep but wake up and just not feel refreshed. And sometimes it might be in between, having a lot of physical energy, but just not having the headspace or the mental energy to be able to focus. Or maybe feeling uplifted and inspired, but feeling tired and fatigued, and therefore not having the mental energy to be able to put into enacting on it. Now, there's tons of information freely available about healthy living and how to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. So I'm not going to talk to you today about what you need to do to eat right or how much exercise you need. We're all different, and what works for me won't necessarily work for you. However, here's a few things for you to consider. These are the things that we know contribute to your overall well-being. Having a balanced diet, plenty of water, sleep, getting the right amount for you. Thinking about what do you do to switch off? Is it reading, cooking, painting, drawing, listening to music, spending time with family? How do you like to socialise with those that you care about? And what works best to get you out and about? Is it walking, maybe cycling, walking the dog, getting out and about into open spaces, being next to water, lakes, the sea, maybe inland, maybe mountains? Think about what's right for you. And finally, technology. How can you cut down the time that you spend accessing devices? And that's a tricky one because we all need those at the moment. Now, for each area of your well-being, what one thing can you commit to? Make a note of this now. The third area that is an enabler is learning, and learning well. Now, this involves trying out new things and then adjusting once we've thought about how it went and what we could do differently. Take a few moments to answer these questions. How much do I invest into my development? How am I applying what I'm learning? How much time do I set aside to reflect on what I learn and plan the next steps? These are all things that contribute to learning well. Work out how you learn best and what's going to work best for you. Okay, let's move on to the final and the fourth area, which is purpose. And this is relevant if your current resilience levels is such that you have the capacity to focus on your goals. And that includes maybe what you're good at, what you love, and the things that are important to you and those around you. If you've got the capacity to focus on your purpose and meaning at the moment, that's great. However, if you're currently overstretched, overwhelmed, fatigued, or in the position where your current focus is just on juggling everything that's on your plate right now, purpose may not be high on your list. Instead, focus on the other three enablers to create some balance and space first. Now, having actions is one thing. At one time or another, we'll have all set ourselves actions, and for whatever reason, something may have got in the way of us achieving what we set out, what we wanted to do. In this final section of the video, we'll briefly look at the top barriers to resilience, and these were identified through the Resilience Engine's research, and they all contribute to increased levels of stress. And in no particular order, the first of these is a do-it-yourself tendency. That's right, you do everything yourself. And if that's you, you'll be independent, you'll be getting things done because it's what needs to happen, maybe because others are depending on you, maybe because it's part of your job or your role. If this is you, you'll be less inclined to ask others for help. Here's the thing, how many of us really enjoy helping others? If we ask someone for help, the likelihood is that they'll be happy to oblige. But sometimes we just don't feel that way, do we? So consider for yourself what stops you asking for help, and identify one or two areas where you could ask for help from others. The second barrier is having weak boundaries. This shows up as putting others' needs first, which isn't a bad thing. It's not good for you though, if that means that you're giving up something that's important to you. So for example, you were going to have a quiet night relaxing, but one of your family needs some help with a piece of work or a project. Or maybe your boss has asked you to do an urgent piece of work, which means that you need to work longer because there's an urgent deadline. And that means you can't go for a walk with your family this evening. If you say yes to these, what's the impact on you? Maybe resentment, maybe stress, maybe not getting refreshed. So think about, what do you need to say no to? What can be negotiated? So if you help your family member tonight, can you have your quiet time tomorrow? That deadline that's really, really urgent, is there anybody else in the team that can help? Is that deadline absolutely essential? Is it you that has to do that piece of work, or is there another way around it? Or is there another piece of work that you don't have to do? Maybe you could focus on it tomorrow. Think about if there's a little bit of wriggle room on that particular deadline. The last of the barriers is being busy, busy, busy. So do you say yes to too many things? Now, saying yes is seductive because it makes us feel good to get things done. We can tick stuff off the to-do list and we feel needed by others. An adrenaline rush can feel energizing and uplifting. To keep going, we may then feed our bodies with caffeine and sugar, and over the long term, of course, that leads to us feeling stressed and fatigued. If you recognize this, think about what drives this behavior of being busy, busy, busy. Do you like to do things? Do you like to fix things, be the hero or the superhero? Perhaps you like to rescue others. Maybe you just like to be liked. Do you see it as your job? So there's some questions. By understanding why you like to be busy, busy and take on a lot, you can then start to think about what you'd like to change. What can you say no to? And how can you say yes more often to taking care of your own resilience and well-being? And by doing so, you will be in a better position to help others. It's that analogy of the oxygen mask on a plane. You always put your oxygen mask on yourself first before putting it on others, because you can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself first. By now, you'll have a few pieces of information, perhaps some actions and things that you want to put into practice. Make a note of these now, and then decide what's the most important thing that you would like to commit to. So just as a recap, we've covered the top enablers for resilience, and we've also covered some barriers and looked at what gets in the way. I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to check out the other videos in this series where we look at what resilience is, bust some of the myths about being resilient, and explore some of the things that can stop us from being resilient, and highlight some practical things that you can do to help build your resilience and take care of your well-being. Do also please check out the other resources we have available on the Academy. Thank you.